Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CuberCast Podcast, where we talk about what's happening in our universe of cubing. I'm Carter Cubes on Twitch and YouTube.
I'm Humble Cuber on Twitch and YouTube.
And I'm Carter Kid on Twitch and YouTube. In today's episode of the CuberCast Podcast, we will be interviewing Brian Sun. Brian Sun is a YouTuber with over 8,000 subscribers. He posts algs, solves, and more. And yeah, thank you, Brian, for coming on today.
So I'm Brian Sun, and I am sub 8 on 3x3 using CFOP. I have a YouTube channel with 8,000 subscribers where I just post videos of mostly just algorithms. They are algorithms that most people don't know, which is why I post them. And I also post solves, mostly just fives and sub 7 averages. I also post critiques. I currently have 2. I'm going to film one today, so check that out. I also post other stuff such as example solves. I have my full OLA and full PLL videos, which you can check out. So yeah.
On to the first question. With cubing short content, particularly solves and algorithm videos, becoming increasingly more popular on YouTube, how is it hard to stand out in your niche?
How hard is it? Well, it's getting more and more hard, but it is still kind of predictable because when I get a video with a lot of views, I can just recreate a video that's similar to it and I would still get most of the time just as many views. So it is a little bit predictable, but it's getting harder as there are more and more people that are getting recommended more than me, and getting only 100 views on a channel with 8,000 subscribers isn't a lot.
Okay, I agree. For me, I post weekly, so I can get more consistent views, but you have a very You post a lot in a day, so it's hard for people to bounce between which video they should watch by you if they're hardcore fan or whatever. But yeah, these days I'm not gonna name names, but there's a YouTuber who recently hit a very big milestone and has been uploading a lot of short content that has been getting a lot of views in just a couple of hours. And with stuff like that, it's hard to stand out between other channels.
I wouldn't say that the hardcore fans don't watch all my videos, because there are people that just watch every single one of my videos. But a lot of people, like most of my channel, don't have people that watch everything I make. So yeah.
So yeah, I would assume it would be kind of easy for people who want to watch all your content to watch it, because most of them are relatively short, so they can basically just go on a binging spree of just next video to the next video.
Yeah, it takes 5 minutes to watch them all.
Yeah. Let's just move on to the second question. So the second question is, how do you manage to post so often, and how do you not get burnt out?
Posting often isn't that hard because it doesn't take so long to film it, and I don't think it would get burned out if it doesn't. If it's something fun for me and not something that would seem like hard work for me, I wouldn't really get burnt out.
So the third question is, do you think your content may be harmful to the community, as some people have said?
It's not harmful to the community as all, because if the reasons that they said is because the algs are bad, but the algs aren't bad, and even if the algs are bad, just don't use them. It's not a problem. And even if you do start to use them, it's not a problem because they aren't bad. And other stuff that might be harmful, maybe there's the please videos, which I stopped making, and there's also just meme videos that some people liked and some people didn't like. I don't really do those anymore, so everything I make is helpful, and if you don't like the alg, then you don't like the alg. You don't have to use it, and even if you don't like the alg, you can still use it, and it wouldn't really harm you in any way. And even if it does harm you, then why would it matter? It's just, it doesn't really affect your solves that much if it's just only one alg. Do any of you have specific reasons that people think my content is harmful?
Yes, there's definitely some people who think it's harmful. The reasons, being please, but that's kind of been stopped. Cause copyright, but no more please now. That was kind of the main reason, I guess, because people thought it was kind of harmful and kind of insulting to others, I would assume.
Yeah, and I think people that was also not just harmful to not harmful to your algs or your solves, but more to the YouTube algorithm or something, because again, more consistent uploads get pushed by the algorithm and push smaller creators with less views down into the, I don't know how to speak English, but down into the depths of YouTube or something. I don't know. Despite the fact that it can harm the algorithm. I think a lot of the hate you get is undeserved by like Anyu and Yusheng. Like that is just kind of uncalled for. Cause like this is why you still have 8 seconds. That was pretty funny, not gonna lie, but it's a bit uncalled for.
On to the next question. It is, how do you learn and implement fancy F2L and last layer algs into your...
So most of the time, I don't have to learn them since they don't take that long. When I make an alg, I just instantly know it. I don't really have to learn it by any means. So when I learn algs from somewhere else, it also doesn't really need to be learned. I can just do it once, and I know the alg by muscle memory. And for last layer algs, the same apply. When I learn an alg, I just learn it. It doesn't really there isn't really a way to learn it. You just do it.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't really imagine me doing like some algs like RUSU perm in my own solves, but I guess it just like works for everyone, sort of. It's just kind of, if it works for you, that's great. If it doesn't work for you, then okay. So yeah, I think definitely you're one of the people those fancy algs actually works on. So
Like one time I was at PLL at like low 5, and I did the Dylan UB perm because it was from the right angle for the AUF. And then I ended up getting a 7 because I had a huge lockup, and that's because my nerves are really bad when I'm about to get a PB. But like in my solves, I use like SR prime, S prime, especially for that one awkward case that you have in like top left. So yeah, it's like RU prime, R prime, U prime, SR prime, S prime. I use that in a lot of my solves, and just SR prime, S prime, and SR S prime. I find those really helpful, and since it's just 3 moves, I don't find it as risky as maybe the RUSU perm when you're under pressure. Like, I probably won't use that if I'm in comp.
Well,
but
to be honest, that doesn't really make sense because you're just doing R2 prime U R2 and then SR2 S prime and then U prime R2. So you're not doing anything that's fancy because you're just doing an SR2 S prime and the rest is just RU. So you just kind of have to drill it enough so that you won't mess it up in solves.
Yeah, that's true. There's this, I forget his name. I think his name's like Greg or something. He has like a 0.4 RUSU perm in comp. Like,
Marcin Statura.
in on... What?
Marcin Statura.
Okay, so his name isn't Greg. I was wrong. But, yeah, I think...
0.4 frame counted RUSU perm in a competition. And me, CuberSpeed, and John Smith, we all have 0.43 frame counted RUSU perms in solves. And I have 2 for 0.466, and so do they. So it's proven that they can be done very fast in solves, and most of the time I don't lock up. Like, I used to lock up more on the RUSU perms, but nowadays, most of the time, like 95% of the time, I execute it perfectly, and there isn't a lockup.
so how did the objectively optimal memes start?
So personally, I don't really know since I didn't really have anything to do with it. But anyways, so Jaden McNeil said he started it, and Stanley Chappell also apparently is part of it. But anyways, what people think of the objectively optimal meme, I think they are wrong about it. So what objectively optimal should mean is that you know it's good, you know it's the best alg, but doesn't mean that you're gonna use it. So like everyone knows that Pinky Ring D2 or Ring Pinky D2 is objectively optimal, but not everyone can do it. So not everyone is capable of doing it. So it's not going to be best for everyone, but you do know that it is technically the best, if you know what I mean. So no alg is best for everyone, but an alg can be theoretically optimal for everyone. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think objectively optimal A perms are LU or RU. Like, you're not going to use wide T perm and say that's the optimal alg. There's some things where it's like blatantly obvious. You're not going to use like a 10 move algorithm if you just have soon. You can just do the 7 move algorithm. For stuff like that, it's obvious what the optimal alg is. And I actually heard that the objectively optimal meme started with Ishan, the blind solver, and it was for like blind algs. So people were trying to find like the quote unquote most optimal algorithm for certain blind cases. So that's where I heard it started.
Okay. So yeah, I'll be clarifying it again. Anyways, objectively optimal doesn't mean that it's going to be the best alg for everyone, but objectively optimal means it's literally objectively optimal, and no matter who you are, you know that it's the best alg. But just because you know that it's the best alg doesn't mean it's the best alg for you because you might not be capable of doing it no matter how much you practice it. For example, a lot of people that can't do double flick D2s, they end up just doing the long RUD algorithms. And those obviously aren't objectively optimal, but it's the best alg for them because they can't physically double flick because their hands are too small.
Yeah, so I guess it's just kind of going back to what I said before. Different algs work for everyone because I personally don't use a lot of the objectively optimal algs. I don't know if this is like an objectively optimal alg. Like one of the P cases, it's just like S, and then it's like just has S moves in it. I think that's actually a really good case. I kind of like things like
S sexy sludge.
S sexy sludge. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good alg. That's like the
Sexy sludge
first
S.
quote unquote OO alg I switched to. You can do it really fast.
yeah, it's like really good. I know RUS Superb, but I don't use it personally. But it's kind of fun to do. Like it's very high risk, high reward sort of thing. Like Luke Garrett, he like basically bombed
Yeah,
the
he's
solve.
just bad. It doesn't really mean anything if you mess it up because people can mess up R moves and it doesn't mean that the alg is bad.
Yeah. When the objectively optimal meme was kind of at its peak, I did end up switching maybe about 5 or 6 of my algs over to the objectively optimal alg, just because I did realize that the original algs I learned were actually kind of bad. Not really just kind of bad, but also really horrible. I was still using some really crappy OLL and PLL algs.
Why do you have a stack mat right in front of you, but you use keyboard?
So the reason is there aren't any comps, and using stack mat just wastes time because it takes more time to reset and do another solve. Just doing a keyboard, you can just keep spamming solves and it doesn't take any time at all. And since there aren't any comps in the near future, I'll just keep practicing using keyboard. And once there is going to be a comp, I'll just use it.
What was your reaction when you beat Lucas's PLL time attack world record?
I didn't really have a reaction. I honestly kind of expected it to be faster, and it did end up being faster, so I didn't really have a reaction. I just knew I was going to be faster because I already had a PLL time attack UWR and OLL time attack UWR and like UWRs for every time attack, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me personally, I'd have a pretty big reaction, but I guess it's just me.
That'd be like how you improve so fast.
How do I improve so fast? So I just drilled solves and I ended up being faster. I didn't really actively practice anything, and I don't do that anymore. I just spam solves every day, and I usually spam for like 40 minutes a day, and that's all I need.
Oh, that's it. Wow. How much did speed cubing solution? Oh, okay.
Speed cubing solution, it didn't really help that much. Speed cubing solution only made me creative with my own solution, so without speed cubing solution,
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have made all my algs that I have. It kind of inspired me to do my own stuff, but nowadays it doesn't really affect me anymore, and yeah, speed cubing solution didn't help me that much because I'm like as fast as Jay now, and he does have a lot of
Oh,
bad
wow.
habits that personally I don't have anymore.
So thank you everybody for watching this episode of the CuberCast Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to Brian Sun on YouTube and use discount code BrianSun at checkout at cubicle.com for 5% off. It's great having you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
See you all next time. Bye.